Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So we have the new sort of guide software, if you like, from Flysky and the AFHDS team. So it's going to take your standard PL18 Ultra from Flysky software over to AFHDS, and it's also got the option to take it from AFHDS back to Flysky software. So on this video I'm going to cover taking your transmitter from Flysky over to AFHDS. There's a few things you need. You're going to need an SD card. You've got to download the SD files. That is for AFHDS. And then we're going to have to use a website to guide you through doing the actual firmware changeover. So yeah, let's take you through them steps, see how we get on with it. And I'll risk my PL18 Ultra so you guys don't have to. Let's see how this one goes. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is format our SD card. So I've just popped a micro SD card into the Legion Go. So if we go to this, we can just click format. You can leave everything stock and then just format it. So once that's done, we can remove his card. And for this, you don't need anything crazy. 16, 32 gig card, it'd be absolutely fine. So the next thing we're going to need to do is get the card into the transmitter. So for this, we're going to have to remove the 4 screws across the bottom of the PL18 Ultra. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll get all them 4 removed and then we can crack on. So once we have these removed, you can just slide off the battery cover. So for this, once we've got the base removed, you're going to put your card with its logo face side down. We've got the SD card slot itself. So basically, you just need to slide this in. And then we can put the base of the transmitter back on. And to be totally honest, for me, I think I'm just going to leave these screws out, the amount of times I'm taking this base on and off. I would have liked to see some kind of sort of switch lock to lock this on rather than the screws, but it is what it is. So once we got the SD card in there, we're going to go to the internet. You're going to go to flysky-cn.com. and I will put these links in. Then we're going to go to downloads. We're going to scroll down. We've got the PL18 Ultra SD card files, so we're going to download these. So for this, it's only a 56 meg download. Should be able to just go on, click download anyway. Then it's going to ask us where you want to put them. So for me, just to keep things tidy, I've got my Assistant V3 folder. Then we've got us PL18 Ultra folder. Once we go in here, I'm just going to create a new file, new folder. So I'm just going to name this SD files. And then in here, I'm going to put the SD card files that we're downloading. So once we've got them, should see that it's fully downloaded. We can go and open the actual file. You'll see it's zipped, so we need to right click and then extract all. This is going to extract all the contents that it's downloaded. So it's nice and easy to copy over to the SD card when we get to that point. Then we can delete the zipped one that we've downloaded. And if we open this, you should see all the actual files. These are what we're going to copy onto the SD card. So it does put it in a nice labelled PL18 Ultra folder. So quite handy how it's done that. So we've got his SD files, in there, go into there, and that's what we're going to need on his SD card. So we can then close the download links. We don't need them, and I'll post this link in the actual description. So it's first off Flysky firmware flash system. So to go to HTX or to go back to Flysky OS. So what I would do is use Assistant to make up a backup of your model memories, because you're probably going to lose them when it updates it, and they won't be compatible with it when it's on Edge. But if you ever flash back to Flysky, then your backup of your model memories will be compatible. So on this one, let's click enter. So it does tell you the risk of flashing the firmware and everything, and you have to accept that. So once we come on here, you've got the option of a locally downloaded firmware if you've downloaded a version of HTX from any other source, or we can go for online. Select the actual transmitter. So at the minute it supports the FSST16 and the PL18 Ultra, so we can do that. Bootloader version, so this will be the latest version that it's going to use. So I'm guessing this will be updated over time, but that's the version we've got. So we're going for online PL18 Ultra, and then that's the bootloader version. So we click next. It's loading as firmware. So it says device not connected. We've got a connection guide. So we need to turn this transmitter completely off. And then this is the bit where we need to get it into DFU mode so it'll actually detect it. So yeah, it is pretty much the same process as doing it with the HTX Buddy, which is nice to see. So we're going to need access to this panel. And it's pretty difficult to see, I know, but you've got one button here that's a hard reset, one button up here that is the DFU mode. So depending on which way around this is easier for you to do it, you've got the USB connection on the actual transmitter. You've also got the USB connection on the computer side. So to do this one-handed, it's usually easier to just unplug this from the transmitter and get it so it's about to be plugged in. So then you're going to press and hold the DFU button and you're going to connect the USB-C, then let go. So once we've got it in DFU mode, should be able to go to Device Manager, and we're seeing it show up as a bootloader, so that should be correct. So at this point we've now got it in DFU mode. When you click connect to device, you should have it showing up as a bootloader. We can click connect. We can now see it's fully connected. Next steps. So it's saying you're all set. Please confirm whether the remote control module and firmware version are correct. Stay on the current web page. Do not leave this, and firmware can take a few minutes. So we've got as model selected as the PL18 Ultra. We've got as HTX bootloader selected. So if we then scroll down, we can go start upgrade. And it is quite nice that it gives us an actual progress bar. So yeah, anybody that's used to using the HTX Buddy to update HTX software on transmitters, I'll be quite used to it. I can see how some people may get a little stuck where they're not sure how to put it into DFU mode, which is why I covered it. And when it says it's not connected, that you click connect, then it'll come up with a pop-up asking you what device you want to connect to. It should be the only device that shows up in that menu, because it will very likely be the only device in DFU mode that's connected to your PC. I am quite happy to see that Flysky are offering this as a official route to switch into EdgeTX, and it'll be quite interesting to see what options we've got on EdgeTX with this, with it being one of the new Flysky transmitters. I know previously I did the mods for the PL18, which were quite limited because there's no SD card reader, and the sound had to be modified. I did upgrade the memory chip on it, but that's a pretty in-depth thing. No real-time clock, so I had to solder in a battery for that as well. So yeah, there's quite a lot of modifications you have to do to the PL18 and PL18 EV to get them to be compatible with EdgeTX. But with this, having the SD slot, and be interesting to see how the sound and everything works with it. You've got a much nicer screen on this. I'm not sure how much of the capacitive buttons will be supported straight away on Edge. I know the EdgeTX team work pretty tirelessly for supporting new radios and everything, and keeping the EdgeTX software up to date. I've been on a few of the calls on Discord listening in to see the new stuff that they're working on. I do like the direction that EdgeTX sort of pushes RC and this technology. Sort of removes a lot of limitations, makes your software your own, so you can get it doing exactly what you want. Doesn't seem to take too long, this though, which I'm quite happy to see. I don't want to cut any of these bits out because I don't want you guys to miss anything. So that has now hopefully flashed to our EdgeTX software. We did get a battery charging icon on the screen. We do have an operating guide. So it does tell us here we need to copy the SD card contents. And this is why I said you download them contents first. Looks like that's pretty painless. So let's minimize that. Let's just disconnect and power up our transmitter. So you will get the warning to say that the SD storage isn't there. So storage preparation. And you do get the beeping warnings. So first we need to center all the sticks. Then we need to move all the spots and sticks. And I'd forgot how annoying that warning is on EdgeTX when you don't have everything set up. So it does look like it's picking everything up. We've got us trims. We've got to configure everything for us battery and whatnot. So let's first off get the so we want us USB-C cable connected, then you want USB storage. So it is detecting the touchscreen, so that's nice. So if we go on here, we go to this PC, we can see it's 32 gig card. We can go in and you can see it's started to build the actual SD card. So we have the SD card open on the actual transmitter. You can program it while it's out, but it's just easy to do it this way. So we go into as Assistant V3, we go down to as PL18 Ultra, we go down to as SD card files, we go into the one that we extracted earlier. So once we've got all them, we can now highlight everything, move it across, drop it, and then we can go copy here. And this is just going to copy all the data that EdgeTX needs to that SD card. As I say, you can download and extract it to the SD card while it's plugged in, but I just find it quite easy to do it this way. The one thing that I can definitely say, we're only copying 108 meg, and it's not the fastest of USB connections to an SD card. We've got read-write speeds in kilobytes, not megabytes. So yeah, if you're transferring anything to or from, you may be quicker taking the SD card out and just like plug it into a little card reader or straight into your Lenovo Legion Go. This is more just of a, I wanted to make sure that it can do it because it is part of EdgeTX. Not really sure why this is so slow. Don't know whether this is a software optimization thing or if it's just that the PL18 Ultra's got a really slow card reader. Shouldn't be any effect on how it actually operates though. It's quite interesting how slow that works because I've tried the SD card directly in Legion Go and it's a pretty quick card. So I'm guessing this is a limitation of the actual SD reader or the actual circuitry going through from USB-C to the SD card in PL18 Ultra. I know the EL18, that is much quicker than this when using the SD card. So whether that's something that can be improved with newer versions of the Edge software, be interesting to see over time if this changes. But to give you some perspective, we've got 20 megabytes left and it's going to take over a minute. Kind of reminds me of the Garmin devices. I know I've got a Garmin Edge 1000 and I think it's USB 1 speeds it connects over, which is interesting when you've got an 8 gig map update. Crucially though, we're not getting any errors, and that's the main thing. We're not getting any errors or dropout. And at least if you're not reading and writing off an SD card too quick, you're not going to overeat it. So it's asking us if we want to skip the files that are already on there. So you can skip them, you can replace them, but for me I'm just going to replace the files because then they're all actually on there. So once we've got that on, we've got USB still connected, so we can shut down. You should be able to now disconnect your USB, put your little rubber flap back, which is always fun, but they do eventually go back into shape. So we got that on. Now we should be able to power up our transmitter. We now get the EdgeTX splash screen.
Throttle warning.
So we got his throttle warning. I must admit, the voice prompts on this sound better than what I've heard them on any of the modded transmitters. So that's definitely something I am happy to report on. Anybody that's used EdgeTX, you'll have a good idea. There's loads of different sort of themes and everything you can set. You can have a look what's on your SD card. We can have actual pictures of our RCs on here instead of just names. But yeah, there's it's pretty much the sky's the limit with this thing. It's incredibly configurable as internal modules. So we've got CRSF and AFHDS 3 as selectable. Not sure if they'll both work. I know AFHDS 3 should. It is automatically set as toggle, so I'm guessing Flysky have done some sort of pre-setups on this. And again, there's calibration that you can go in where it's asking us to just make sure everything's centered first. So make sure everything is in the center. Go through then,
Transmitter battery low.
and you can calibrate everything.
Transmitter battery low. Transmitter battery low.
So we've got that. So there's a lot of configuring.
Trim center. Trim center.
There's a lot you can mess around with. You can configure the screen to be however you like. It does actually pick up the buttons around the screen.
Transmitter battery low.
So I'm quite impressed with that. So it does look like Flysky's done a good bit of work pre-configuring and working with HTX team. I'm going to have a lot of play about with this and see what's different. Does look like we've got support for Express LRS, things like that. Game simulator mode. So yeah, quite a lot of stuff has been added on this. Let's have a look. Low battery alarm, so let's get rid of that. Let's take that down to like 3.3 volt. So it'll stop chelping at us. Brightness. Yeah, looks like it works pretty good. So yeah, a pretty seamless and pretty easy upgrade to HTX firmware. Shutdown and startup time seems pretty good on it. So from the minute we get the light and the boots enabled,
throttle warning.
Yeah, pretty quick. I would say this kind of looks like it's going to be quite a good transmitter to run on HTX. It looks like everything's fully supported straight out of box, so that's nice to see. So yeah, I must admit, so far, quite impressed with it. It does feel nice and responsive as well. It's not a laggy experience. The touchscreen feels nice. From other transmitters that I've used with Edge, they seem to have a bit of an issue working out where you've pressed on screen. Whether it's just a better screen on this or whether it just works better with this screen. We can play Pong apparently. Should you get really bored with your RC, you can always have a quick game of Pong. But yeah, overall, quite impressed with it. It works quick, it's responsive, and it seems to pick everything up straight out of the box. But yeah, looks like we've got this set up as enter and back, so yeah. But yeah, fascinating little thing. Oh, no way, we've got Snake. I'm going to waste far too many hours on this. I'm guessing we can get back out of Pong by pressing that. Yeah, so... but yeah, I'm really impressed with this so far. Plenty of options and quite a seamless way of doing it as long as you kind of understand how the steps work. But that's definitely going to be long enough for this video. I will do a video showing how we convert this back, but this video has been long enough and confusing enough for some people as it is. So yeah, let's wrap this one up. So there you have it, the PL18 Ultra converted to HTX. You can play about with your settings for calibrating battery, setting up your transmission modules, things like that. The buttons down here are preset what looks like back and enter, but I had a lot of time playing around with this. But yeah, it looks like it's pre-set up, it detects everything. The switches are automatically set as long as you use the SD files from Flysky. I'll put all the links in the description below, but yeah, pretty successful, and I think it'll be quite a usable transmitter on HTX. The sound sounds a lot better. You've got the SD card, so no issues with memory space. Would have liked to see the transfer rate a bit higher, but maybe that's something, limitation of HTX, how that's implemented. But ultimately, you're not going to be loading and unloading too much from the SD card, and it's seconds to pop it out and plug it in directly if you want to do it that way. But yeah, you can copy stuff to and from it. It's just a little bit slow. Nothing that would really concern me, and more to the point, you get no errors when you're transferring stuff, so it's more important that you don't get errors, especially when you're going to be flying things with it or driving things with it. But overall, yeah, do like this transmitter. Feels more comfortable than original PL18. Really nice to get to stuff. It does feel more like I can actually use it like this. I know they've only made it a bit smaller, but the bit smaller does seem to make a big difference. But leave your comments below. Would you use this on HTX? Do you think this is an easy enough way of doing it? I didn't come across any problems with it, just all straightforward. But yeah, thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.